If you are somebody who is trying to figure out how to get A players for your team, if you're somebody who knows that when you've got a great high performance group of people, you can get heaps more done, that the A players are all working together and they're collaborative, you've got good communication, you haven't got big costly mistakes happening, you've got the business moving forward on a strategy. In this video, I'm going to be explaining how to actually work through your team members and understand if you've got A players, B players, or C players. So what happens with A players is that there's too many C players around, they'll leave your organization. So it's really a good question to be asking if we really are somebody who wants to scale our organization. If you know that your organization can do more, if you know your team can do more and you want them to do more, then what I'm going to be helping you with as a quick and dirty tool today is to actually work through each team member. And it's really quick and dirty. It's a really quick tool that you can use to kind of look at your team and start to think about, okay, what do we need to do with our team? So do we need to coach our team? Do we need to exit our team from the business? Do we need to motivate and train people? So, we want to reward people. And if you think about the dynamics of what we want to do with people, we've got A players, for example, and what we want to basically do is reward those people. If we've got B players and C players, B players, we basically want to work out whether we're going to coach and train, motivate, or not. And C players is exit. So as we start to look at people, we're starting to say to ourselves, okay, well, what do we want to do? We want to, with our A players, when we identify them, we want to reward those people and we want to keep them going and we want to keep them doing meaningful work. And with our B players, as we identify them, we want to really make the conscious decision, are we going to invest in those people? We want to invest in them. We're going to coach and train them because we think they've got A in them, or are they performing kind of at their absolute very best? And maybe we make the decision to not invest in them. And then obviously C players, we don't want to do any further investment in them because they're doing more damage to the A players than good just occupying a seat in the business. So we want to get the right people in the right seats doing the right work in the organization. So if you're an organization who is really struggling with communication, you're an organization that's got a bit of chaos, you're an organization that hasn't got good strategy and it feels like people aren't going in the right direction, you're making costly mistakes, you've got an increase in overall costs and your margins, your profit margins are being eroded. If you're in an organization that's you haven't got direction and you might be wandering rudderless and aimlessly, but you can think back to a time when there was a couple of key people in the business that kind of gave you those lifts. They gave you, as the organization's been moving through its career, and this is the company's career, or your team's career, or even your career, there was people around you that really lifted the organization. They were high performance. They did well. They kind of didn't have the emotional issues. They didn't have a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on. They would kind of just come in, get it done and go. Those are indicators of A players. So if you have got that, that clash of communication that feels like chaos, if you have got those pain points where there's mistakes happening, there's customer complaints, things just aren't working very well, there's complexity coming into the business, you feel like you keep needing to write policies and procedures to control what's happening. If we just wrote this down, we could get people to follow the procedure and we'd have that to refer back to. If these are the kinds of things that you're talking about and thinking about in your organization, then we want to be focusing on people. We want to be starting to understand that and focus on the fact that people are an organization. An organization is a group of people, and we're all humans, and we've got and the vast majority are adults, unless you've got child labor. So we're talking about adults. We're talking about adults working together as a team. We're talking about adults working together as a team. And so we've got to start to be focusing, I believe, more on people. I've done 20 years worth of work on systems and process. We've done work here in this organization where we've created beautiful policies and procedures and beautiful graphs and beautiful reports and beautiful management systems to help organizations perform. But what I will honestly, openly admit is that I've neglected to be focusing as much as I should have been on people, because I thought I could just solve things with tech and technology and policy and procedure and system and process. And so what we're starting to see now is that actually if we focus a little bit more on people, give people a bit more priority and the super high touch, super one-on-one approach, we can start to actually categorize people, and maybe we can get some consensus across an executive. So we meet here every Thursday, actually in this room, for an executive meeting, and we talk about the different members of the team, and we put them through this process, and we say, are we going to keep investing in these people, coaching and training them and motivating them? Are we going to reward the people that are A players? And we do reward people with A players with $2,000 bonuses every quarter. The key people are called out. They're our A players. And then we've got down here in the C category, we exit people from the business. So when we go through this process, this is how I do it. This is the process that I follow. So I'm obviously talking about internal team. We can also use this in our recruitment process as we're looking at candidates for selection. So I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera shot at the moment, but hire for the will, train for the skill. So when we're at the interview stage, we're looking at whether this person is going to have values alignment. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. We're looking to see if this person they kind of get what the role is, the numbers, and when you talk about the role in the interview process, they look motivated. Their body language is projecting that they're motivated. They're invested. Someone who is nervous in an interview is invested. They want to come in and do the right thing. They want to come in and help. Someone who's too kind of overly confident and not nervous in an interview, that might be an indicator of someone who's not going to be an A player, because they're like, yeah, I don't care about this. I can get this. I've got this. And they're going to be overly confident in the interview. But nerves and nervousness in an interview is an indicator that someone's invested. Now, they may have personal situation and personal circumstances that are dictating that they really, right now in the pandemic, need a job because they've got no income. But more often than not, it's because they like the organization, they've done some research, and they would really like to get this job because they've done their research and they're nervous. And they're like, oh, this is really good. I kind of got myself and I'm out of my comfort zone. So look for nerves in an interview. I think that's a good thing. Help make someone feel comfortable. But if someone's coming into an interview overly confident and super confident, that's going to be that's a red flag for me to actually look in to see whether that person could be presenting as a B or a C player in the interview process. So I am live. Where are we live at the moment? We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube. I'm really excited about this particular piece of content because I can help you actually look at people around you. You don't have to be a leader or a manager for this particular tool to work. You can look around yourself and you can choose a team. If you see yourself as an A player, or you want to know if you're an A player, you can do this yourself. And you can help find a more meaningful seat for yourself in an organization. You could present this to your manager. You can say, hey, look, I don't think I'm in the right seat in the organization. I think I would be better off placed in another seat in the organization. So we want to have this transformation. Let's quickly talk about that, then I'll get into the tool. We want to transform your organization, and we want to transform the people in your organization to the right people in the right seat doing the right work. And so I say lots here at Best Practice about, what can we say no to? What can we take away? Best practices in business are as much about what you don't do as what you do. And it's not necessarily about doing more. A lot of the time it's about doing less. If you watch a gardener, here comes an analogy for the boys here in the studio. If you watch a gardener in a garden pruning a hedge in the garden, you've got a row of plants and they've all been planted and they've been fertilized and watered and sunlight and they're all growing very nicely. But over time, that hedge will grow off in different directions. And the gardener comes through and prunes that hedge back. Excuse me for bumping the microphone. Prunes that hedge back so that it grows in strategically the direction that the owner of the garden wants it to grow in. And so we want to be thinking about that. Sometimes we need to prune parts of our hedge back into the right direction. Sometimes we can grab a branch and we can bend it back into place with some wire and hold it in place. And that would be coaching and training, like a bonsai tree. Often bonsai trees get wires woven around the branches, so the branches grow in the direction that the bonsai designer, I think that's the right term, the bonsai person, maybe you guys can Google that for me, so the bonsai grows in the right direction, so the hedge grows in the right direction. Or do we just cut the limb off because it's not growing in the right direction? It's not kind of doing what we want it to do. We want the hedge to keep going up straight and we want it to look neat and tidy. So I want you to be thinking about that gardening analogy and pruning the hedge. Sometimes we've got to prune an organization. Sometimes in organizations, we've got to cut out the dead wood. You might have heard that terminology in corporate world, and that comes from the hedge pruning analogy or the gardening analogy. So we're going to cut out the dead wood. We're going to cut out the rot from an organization. This is how we can start to do it. Okay, let's get into the tool. So it's always really exciting. Hey, Roger. I can see Roger in two places. I can see Roger commenting there, and I can see him on the live stream. So, hey, Roger, thanks for joining us today. So what I want you guys to let me know, if you are watching live on LinkedIn or if you are watching live on YouTube, I'd love it very dearly if you could let me know where in the world you are watching from. It's really helpful for me to understand and know where everybody else is in the world, and then I can kind of tailor my presentation accordingly. So, yes, appreciate that comment, Roger. It's good to have the captions. We've turned the captions on for some of you. You should be able to see subtitles and captions. Have that turned on so that you can see what's happening. So if you are watching and you are getting this feed through, take signs of confidence over nerves any day. That's a really interesting point there on YouTube. That's come through on YouTube. I personally look for nerves. If I see signs of overly confident, then that raises a concern for me. So I need to look further into that. Is the person just projecting that they're overly confident, showing they're overly confident? Because if they are overly confident, they are not invested in what's happening. Nervousness, in the very first impression when someone comes in for an interview, the nervousness is that person is motivated, they want it, and they're invested, and they are taking a step up, that's what I look for. If I see overly confident, particularly salespeople, generally for me, they're a no. So, but that's, we can differ in our opinion, but that's what I look for. Okay, excellent. Couple of people letting me know where they're watching from. Good to have people from all over Australia. Let me know where you are watching from. Obviously, the guys here in the Best Practice Studio. Got a few people helping me. Caitlin's watching online, Vanessa's watching, and I've got the two guys here in the studio helping me. So hopefully this content's good. Let's get into this tool. Okay, let me move it across for you so everyone can see. So it's a matrix. It's really simple. So the first three things I want to just quickly talk about are GWC. These come from the Rockefeller habits. They've been well documented in a couple of great business books called one is called Traction by Gino Wickman. Another one is Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. Another great book is Mastering the Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish. All those three books, they're kind of my inspiration, and I'm melting this stuff together for you guys and adding in my own experience over the last 20 years leading teams. So GWC, I would like you right now, as we talk through this next piece of content and knowledge, to be thinking about a person. Maybe it's yourself. Maybe you could think about what your manager thinks of you. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through this process. So either yourself, one of your work colleagues, it's good to do it on yourself. So maybe your own sort of bring some self-awareness right now to this process. The role that we're talking about. So remember, this is about getting the right people into the right seats, doing the right work. So this tool is not about we're doing dumb work and we've kind of made decisions to do things we shouldn't be doing. That's a whole nother lesson. In this one, we're talking about getting the right people in the right seat. So the first question that I ask is really simple, is do they get it? Do they get it? Does a person really get it? And we have to be careful with the tone that we put on that, because say, do they really get it? And my body language could be, do they really get it? So we have to be careful, but it's about, the first one is get it. Do they get it? The numbers, the game, the bedside manner, the kind of parts to the process. They kind of understand the metrics, they understand the KPIs, they understand what needs to be the output of the role. This is the role. What's the output of the role? And so there's different parts of the organization. There's outputs to marketing, there's outputs to sales, there's outputs to finance, there's outputs to the operational and production part of the business, there's outputs to the human resources part of the business, the design part of the business, the experimentation part of the business. There's the board of directors, there's the CEO, there's the leaders, there's the people that help every day just doing the major part of the coalface work. When you're looking at an individual person, do they get it? So what we do is here at Best Practice, we use this tool like this. We do a matrix and we have 1, 2, 3. And then we have, 4, and we look at all of the people and we list them out. And it can kind of go, it doesn't matter if the elements go down the side or across the top, that kind of doesn't really matter. And then what we do is we take person number 1 and we say, do they get it? And we give them 1 of 3 scores. we give them a plus, my pen stopped working, a plus minus, or a minus. And I apologize because let me turn this around. I'll get it working. I think we're out of texters. I can get this to work like this. So we have a minus like that, a plus minus, and a plus. And we pick one of the scores. So the first person, do they get it? We might give them, actually, you know what? I've got to sometimes explain this to people like 2 or 3 times. So we basically give them a plus minus here like this, plus minus. Do they want it? Yes. They present, they're motivated, they really want it, they really want to do it. Do they have the capacity to do it? Actually, it might be a plus minus. Now, here at Best Practice, we also add in the values, and we've got 3 values here at Best Practice. We have friendly, empowering, and progressive, sometimes in a different order. So are they friendly? Now, recently, I've had some situations where people are there's a bit of tension and friction between people, not healthy arguments, but it's not bullying, but it's kind of those things that happen between people where they don't treat each other nicely. And I'm like, are you being friendly? Are you being nice to your friends? Are you playing nicely together? And if it's all the time, they get a plus. And if it's not all of the time, they might get a plus minus or a minus, or it's, about once a month, they get a complaint about that person being a prick to people and being nasty to people or being rude to people, they get a minus. And so it's here at Best Practice, I value this because I don't want someone to be scared to come to work because of the people that they work with. I don't want someone to come to work and get a knot in their stomach because I've been in that situation and I got really stressed. And it's one of the dozen reasons why I started my own business, because I was sick and tired of dealing with cranky people around me. So friendly is really important to me here at Best Practice. Empowering. Do they help people to be their best self? Are they spending time helping the people around them to live their best life, to unleash their potential? They're transferring skills. They're using empathy. They're being, they're helping people to kind of understand how they can be better versions of themselves. Here at Best Practice in our team meetings, we often get people to teach each other information so they can kind of learn. So do they empower people? Yes, they do. They're a plus. Like, they spend a lot of time trying to help people to learn, make suggestions. And are they progressive? Do they use technology? Do they get on board? Someone's giving me another pen. Hopefully it works. Do they help people get on board? Do they embrace technology? Or do they complain about technology? They embrace it. They grab the new device or the new software and they run with it. Or do they actually say, it's such a pain in the ass that I have to do this. Why do I have to change? So maybe they get a plus minus. So when we actually look now at the trend on person number 1, we got a plus minus, we got a plus, we got a plus minus, we got a minus, we got a plus, we got a plus minus. Now, an A player, what do they look like? An A player looks like plus, 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 plus. So we say, okay, well, they get it. They want it. They've got capacity. They're friendly. They're empowering. They're progressive. That's an A player. An absolute C player, or even you could have a D player, but let's just go with C to keep it really simple, is minus, 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 minus. If someone's got a plus minus in any of these categories, they are not an A player. Let's be clear about that. If somebody has got they're all minuses and they've got a plus or a plus minus, they are not a C, they are not a B player. It's really clearly delineated that this is reasonable doubt. They're not a C player because they're not all minuses. They're not an A player because they're not all pluses. There's plus minuses in here, and you can yes, I get it's subjective, but then it's really easy to make a decision. Do we invest in that person over here? So this number 1 person, it puts them in this category of coach and train, motivate or not. If we do this again in a couple of months' time on the same person, and these plus minuses keep showing up. So, we've got the plus minus here. Maybe it's swapped. Now this is a plus and this is a plus minus. Our coaching and training is not working, and we need to hold ourselves responsible. And I say to myself, I've invested as much as I can, and I can't bring this person up to an A player. So I push them down to a C, and they will be exited from the business. So how that actually functionally happens differently in different countries. The person might get fired. The person might get made redundant. The person might be managed out of the business. But the goal is to actually protect the team, because we have A players and we have to protect our A players. Remember, our A players are the people that are friendly all the time. They're contributing to the team. They are the battery chargers. They're not a battery drainer. They're a battery charger. So if we've got all battery chargers, we've got lots of positive energy, and it's easier for the organization to achieve its goals. If we are carrying lots of B's and C players, work and coming and running the organization and leading your team is just a grind every day, and you'll go home fatigued instead of energized. Absolutely, Rachel, that's a really good point. You've got to protect the team. Thanks everyone for letting me kind of know, where you are. I'm going to get to that other question there on LinkedIn. And thanks for coming in to us live from Sweden today on YouTube. Good to have you on board there in Sweden. So a results-oriented player does not always come off as friendly individual since he or she is busy producing results. Maybe this is a false statement. It's a false statement. I have fired in the past our high-performance salespeople because they are toxic for the rest of the team. And over here in our values alignment, you will, by rewarding high performance and results-oriented people without considering values, you will have a toxic culture, I guarantee it. And positive, empowering, sustainable culture is what creates amazing unicorn companies off into the future, because we want boards of directors and investors and shareholders and those stakeholders in the organization. I'm not saying that they are the be all and end all, but those are important. They're looking for sustained performance over a long period of time. Think about your investments. Think about your superannuation, or think about your stocks. You would like to see those stocks and your investments go up in value over time, like a consistent result, because you can say, actually, that's a good investment, and people are the same. When we have high performance results-oriented people, they are more likely, I'm not saying fire everyone that has great performance, I'm saying fire people that are C's. They don't get it, they don't want it. So they might get it and have high performance results up here. They might not really want it, or they might want it. They might have capacity, so they're getting stunning results, but they're not friendly. They're not empowering. And these are our values. So you've got to set out your own values for your own organization, but there's a values misalignment. Can you use the book Radical Candor and have a candid conversation about what you expect from them at work, and that they don't need to stop and talk to everybody and waste time, but they do need to participate as a professional in the organization rather than leaving a path of destruction. So that the high-performance salespeople that have left this organization in the past, just as a case study, is because they've left a path of destruction. They are toxic. They talk down to people. They're rude. They're arrogant because they're only focused on their bonus. They're not focused on the bigger picture. And so we have people carrying them. So it's very subjective, but it is a great way to help people move along their path. I hope that helped you with your comment there on YouTube. Okay, excellent. So is everyone getting a handle on this? So let's do it once more. So now we've got a better texter that's helping us a little bit more. So we're going through, we're asking the question. So think about yourself and the role that you currently have. Do you get it? Are you a plus, minus, or a minus? Do you want it? Are you a plus, minus, or a minus? Do you have capacity? Do you have the emotional resilience? Are you emotionally stable, or do you pivot backwards and forwards? Have you got the grit and the tenacity to get through the day? You know the shit testing and the objections that are going to come from the people you deal with, and you can handle that in your stride, and you can show up and be patient and know that you need to share joy with people and positively influence people instead of negatively. So you want to think about that. That's a plus. Friendly. These are our values. So you put your company values in down here. Try not to have more than 5. We've got one more we don't talk about on our formal stuff, but it's empathy. So here at Best Practice, we need to formalize it. We haven't put it into our policies and process yet, but empathy is a key one. And so get it, want it, capacity. They're friendly all the time, or you are friendly all the time to be an A player. Empowering, progressive, and use empathy. I live with empathy and use empathy every day. That's an A player. And then we can go down here and we can say, all right, the person, they get it. They could probably be a bit better, but they get it. So let's give them a plus. They're kind of almost there. and our coaching and training has been working, so let's give them a plus. Do they want it? Actually, you know what? We've had a conversation. They would like to do something different. And so they want to change jobs. In the organization, they want to change jobs. Remember, the right people in the right seat doing the right work. Right people, right seat, right work. Not work they think they should be doing. Work that is progressing the meaningful cause, the meaningful mission of the organization, not sitting filing emails. Filing emails is not important. Good to be organized, but not something that you do all day, every day, because it's not productive work. It's busy work. It's not important. It doesn't move the organization forward. So plus minus, because they want to change jobs. So we can train them over here or motivate them into another seat, and we can kind of do a little change. And there's some changes happening here at the moment at Best Practice, where there's a little bit of reshuffling of duties to kind of get the players right on the field. You know, we might move someone, if I was playing soccer, I move someone from the backs to the goalie, someone from the midfield up to striker, and we're kind of adjusting the team as we play the game. Capacity. Actually, they can only work 3 days a week. They're a carer in their family or a parent, and they haven't got the full-time capacity for what the role means. The right work or the right people in the right seat doing the right things. And they can't be in the seat. Physically, they can't be in the seat. And so they've got a plus minus. Friendly, you know, they're friendly most of the time. So they're plus minus. Friendly most of the time, plus minus. Gee, they can get cranky and they can yell at people and they can be rude. They're a minus. Empowering, yeah, they do try to teach people, but sometimes they let their frustration when people aren't going there as fast as possible. They do try to help people, and that used to happen to me until I brought some self-awareness to it. I would get frustrated with people. And then progressive, absolutely. They jump on everything and they're constantly on tech and that kind of stuff, and really laser focused. And empathy. When they stop and take time to talk to people, they use empathy. Let's give them a plus minus. That person's a C player. You can see it straight up. Okay. And then we come to somebody else, and over the last couple of months, you know, we've come back to them. You know, they're still here in the organization, so they must have been a B. So anyone who's here, but they're starting to become a C, because do they get it? If you pin them down and say they get it, they do get it. But, you know, they're kind of showing signs of actually it's not for them anymore. Do they want it? No. Do they have capacity? No. Are they friendly? No, not all the time. Are they helping people? No, they've disengaged from the team. Are they progressive? Yes. Do they have empathy? Not really. So, but, you know, they're not a super negative person. They're not a narcissist. Let's give them a plus minus. That's a C player. So that's an example of an A player, a B player, and a C player. And we need to think about, what do we want to do here? Because we're not rewarding them. So if we're not you have to do one of these three things with every people. You have to reward them if they're an A player. You have to coach and train and motivate them if they're a B player. You have to exit them from the team if they're a C player. You have to do one of those three things. And it's the hard truth of being a leader. It is your job to protect the team. It's not everybody gets an award for showing up. This is about moving forward, and it's about making life productive and easy for people to move forward. So remember the transformation that's happening. A players are better communicators. A players are not rude. A players are friendly. A players work in a team. So our transformation went from, we're an organization that's struggling with our communication. We've got rampant communication. We've got issues. We've got chaos. We're making expensive mistakes. Our costs are increasing in the business. We're not hitting our revenue numbers. Everything's kind of getting harder at the top end. And we're eroding our mechanics. We're eroding our value. And we want to move from, we're growing, we're learning, we're developing, we're getting a better customer satisfaction score. And we're getting an increasingly better net promoter score. We've got new products in the marketplace. We've got customers giving us testimonials. You know, we've got raving fans. This is what's happening as we start to improve our team over time. In the professional football codes and netball codes and women's sport and men's sport, there is every season, there is a readjustment of the team. Some players on the bench, some players on the field, some players leave the team, new players join the team. And it's no different in business, and we have to acknowledge that. So more importantly, if you did this test on yourself and you actually went, you know what, I got some pluses and minuses, particularly up here in this section. So if you are here yourself, you measured yourself, you don't get it, maybe actually, you know what, you don't want it. You actually often tell people that you don't want it. You don't have to be here, you don't want it. Or you've got capacity issues. My goal is to create organizations that are great places to work. My goal is to help organizations to improve. My goal is also for you to say, actually, this is not a bad thing. It's just that you're the wrong person in the wrong seat doing the wrong thing. We want to get you the right person, right seat, doing the right work. All you got to do is move an organization. And so it's a great self-awareness tool. And for me, I'm not the financial numbers person. I'm not motivated by money. Money is great and it gives me freedom to do the things that I need to do, but it's not what motivates me. What motivates me is seeing people grow and improve and achieving their goals, and I get a kick out of that. And that's the kind of stuff that makes the hair stand up on my arms. That's the kind of stuff that makes me feel warm and fuzzy. When I look at my bank balance, it doesn't make the hairs on my arm stand up. What makes the hairs on my arm stand up is when I see somebody, they call me and they say, I took your advice, I implemented it in my team are pumped, everybody's on the same page, and by the way, just had our best month ever. That's already making me feel really good. That's what I get my pride out of. So when you say get it, what should I be here at Best Practice? Should I be the CFO or the person controlling the money? No, I'm the motivator and trainer and the educator. And that's why we do this content. And I'm right now doing my job. I'm in the right seat, doing the right work right now for our organization. I'm not out there counting the pennies and looking at the bank account. In fact, the accountant emailed me last night. He said, you haven't done bank reconciliations. I'm like, not my job, not my seat, don't want it, don't get it, don't care. So, if to be the accountant, do I get it? Let's do Kobi. Here he is, Kobi over here, to be the accountant at Best Practice. Does he get it? Kind of, plus minus. Does he want it? No. Does he have capacity? No, he's too busy. Is he friendly? Absolutely. Is he empowering? Absolutely. Is he progressive on accounting? No. Does he have empathy for the accountants? No. I don't want it. Take it away from me. Exit me from that team of the business. You get it, right? So with yourself, that's me doing it on myself. If you talk about being the talking head at Best Practice, do I get it? Absolutely. Probably not as much as I could, but I'm learning, I'm reading, I'm trying to figure it out. We're trying to be more influential, help people, write better websites, have better landing pages, do better events, bring better content that helps our mission. Do I want it? Absolutely. Do I have capacity? I can talk the chrome off a tow bar. Absolutely. Am I friendly? Yes. Am I empowering? Yes. That's what I'm doing right now, helping you guys. Am I progressive? Yes, we're using technology, YouTube, LinkedIn, live, cameras, studio. We're progressive and empathy. I want to help your organization to improve, and I want you to have a happy life every single day and be super excited to go to work and do the work that you sincerely love doing. So that is the personnel evaluator. That's what we wanted to talk to today, how to find A players. So you can see how this works with your existing team. I've obviously talked a lot about your existing team, but you also got to keep this in mind when you're going through the recruitment process. Now, remember, recruitment doesn't stop when they sign the contract. Here at Best Practice, recruitment stops at 5 months. At the 5 months, it's a yes or it's a no. And that wasn't a twitch. We go absolute yes at 5 months or it's a no, because we're doing this. We're doing this evaluation on all our new recruits. We're getting better at it every day, and our team is getting better at it every day. And we have a thing here at Best Practice, we call it the Super Mario. This is what it is. This is our reward. And our A players get one of these once a quarter and a $2,000 bonus. And that's how we reward our A players very specifically, because they get it, they want it, they have capacity, they're friendly, empowering, progressive, and empathy. And one of the guys in the studio has already received one of these rewards. And now he understands how he got it. There you go. So, any questions? I assume one can easily get lost in results and forget to bring everybody on board. Absolutely. Yes, that's what happens. So I've got my dashboard here. So if you are commenting on LinkedIn or YouTube, The boys have given me the dashboard here. I can see all the comments on the page. So yes, absolutely. Someone can get lost in the results, and you do need to bring people along. And that's about being a team player. Remember, we're an organization. We're not a sole trader. Melbourne. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. Yes. Will the recording be available? Yes, it will. Just come back to this link. So if you're watching on YouTube, Peter, you could leave the tab open on YouTube, copy the link and paste it if you like. But 100% the recording, all of these videos when we go live. The reason why we do it live on YouTube is because we're lazy. We don't have to edit it. We just press save. It stays on the YouTube channel. So yes, this recording of this will be available on the YouTube channel and lots more of this content. The team will be splintering it out for you guys to bring it to bring you more content or samples of it as well. So Peter, thanks for watching. So I have got my dashboard there. How's everybody going on LinkedIn? Anyone on LinkedIn who is still watching and still with us, let us know. And we will probably also distribute this recording via email at the end of the week to our email list of subscribers. So if you're not on the list of subscribers, go to bestpractice.biz and sign up to get the weekly newsletter. Every Friday afternoon, we send out an email, the best of best. So it's the very best of best practice for the week, our best social media, our best content, our best articles, our best videos, and you kind of don't need to filter through all of the social media. So if you're somebody who's kind of time poor and you just want to know what went well, what we did really well and what we kind of, the market said, yes, that's amazing, we go through and curate that and we send that out via email every Friday. So if you're not on our email list, please jump on the email list and get that. And if you're not seeing those best of best emails, please check your spam filters or your junk filters and go across and change the setting for best practice so that it lands in your inbox. So you can change that and you can say make safe or safe email account to get our best of best. I promise we won't spam you. We just try to send you our best value to you guys. So buenas noches. Good to have you, David. I haven't spoken to you probably 12 months, David. Good to have you. David's up in Ecuador. Good to have you on board on YouTube today. Buenas noches. It's buenos dias here. It's morning in Sydney, Australia. So good to have you there. And I think from memory, David, you're in Guayaquil, I think, in Ecuador. Andrea, even though I don't have a team, these things resonate with me and working with others. 100%, Andrea. So I appreciate you don't have a team, but as you grow in your career, you can kind of move into a leadership role and you can start to say this and you can use this to influence people. You can say, particularly if somebody is constantly complaining about their job or constantly complaining, you can say, hey, look, sounds like you don't want it. Like, what is it that you really like to do? What is it that you can do? And you can investigate to get it. And then you can say, well, what have you got the capacity to do? What would you really love to be doing? What do you really love doing? And then the minute someone vocalizes that, the universe opens up and opportunities present themselves because they kind of focus on those things. So, Andrea, it's a great tool to help your teammates, particularly if they're B's and C's, to leave. Like, why don't you go somewhere where you're happier? Why don't you go somewhere where you will enjoy it? Why are you staying right here? Because you're clearly not happy and you're toxic and you're holding the team back. And so it's as much about helping people along their journey. And I know I've weighed in on that today, but as leaders, we need to make hard decisions, but it's also your responsibility to make a decision about your own happiness and what you're enjoying and what you get and what your career is. If you live to 85, I forget the exact maths. Cam knows what's coming. If you live to 85 years old, you have approximately 31,000 days on this planet. You don't get any more. It's the one thing. It's like people say time is running out, 100%. Now, for those of us that are middle-aged, like halfway there, I'm past halfway to 85, then that means I've only got about 15,000 days left. And it's about doing the right things. You're going to die. And it's about doing the right things now. You are. The boys are all having a laugh. You are going to die. So do meaningful things every day. Get it? Yes. Want it? Absolutely. You want to have a great life. Do you have the capacity to have a great life? Yes, you do. So you are the best person. You're the right person in your own seat, in your own skin right now. And you can go off and do meaningful stuff in your life. 2 weeks ago, I drafted my bucket list of 101 things I want to do before I die because I've got 15,000 days left and I'm going to try and stretch that. I might try to get an extra 2,000. So I'm going to see if I can steal an extra 2,000, get myself to 17,000 more days on this planet, doing the right stuff, and then more importantly, leaving a legacy. So my spirit will live on past the time that I die. Definitely on the internet. I've left an amazing footprint on the internet for people to consume my content into millennia until YouTube becomes a thing they don't want to watch. Excellent. Andrea, that's fantastic. I've moved from C to an A. That's fantastic. You can do it. Like, remember, back to the beginning, right people, right seat, right work. And if you go, you know what, I don't like this seat anymore. It's uncomfortable. I don't like sitting in this seat. It's uncomfortable. And I move to a different seat that's more comfortable. Fantastic. If you can help do that, then the team is going to respect you for that. Nothing better than that. Fantastic. Okay. How are we going for time? 45 minutes. Fantastic. Hope everyone's enjoyed this. Has anyone got any questions? I've got one more mouthful of black tea. I'll wait for a couple of questions. If not, we'll call it a day. Good delay there of about 60 seconds. So I've got to wait 60 seconds for the questions. We're waiting. Any questions? Has this helped you? Have you enjoyed it? Has this been something that you want to see more content of? Is there someone in your organization that would benefit from seeing this? Not because you want them to leave, because they're a leader. Tag a lead. Is there a leader in your organization that would find this tool useful to use in your organization? If there's a leader that you think would find this useful in your organization, type their name in the comments or tag them in the comments on either YouTube or on LinkedIn, and you can and we can reach out to them, or you can reach out to them and let them know, hey, you know what, this would be really helpful for our organization. So the books I recommended, Traction by Gino Wickman. I've got them here. So Traction by Gino Wickman, regular book recommendation here from Best Practice. Excellent book. Should be in everybody's business books library. If you're not already convening a library of business books for your career, start now. Great book. Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. Excellent book to help build management systems and process data to help your organization. I see that there's kind of 3 intersecting rings in an organization. I'll just fill this in while we wait for comments. Has this been helpful? Let me know, yes or no. So just quickly, should have got a photo of that. People, data, process. So what we can do is we can start to actually see the sweet spot there for the organization is when we're constantly improving people, and the people performance improvement, we're focused on our results focus for Syntax Ab on YouTube. Sorry, I can't see your name there. I can just see your username. And then process. So if we do productivity and process improvements, people improvements, and focus on result improvements, we're going to be in the zone. We're going to be in flow in our organization. So that's kind of our model here at Best Practice that we use, and the focal points. Do we need to be working here on process? Do we need to be working on people? Do we need to be working on data? And then we're looking at results focus across those 3 areas, which is excellent. Okay, and the last book is Mastering the Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish. So from this video, they're my 3 book recommendations. Those 3 books for you guys. There's the cover. I apologize. There's the cover, something like that. There we go. I'm not a very good book presenter. Should have been a news presenter. There we go. Look at that, vertically. Terrific. They're my 3 book recommendations. If you're a progressive person, screenshot that. Luke's taking a photo. He'll put that on my Instagram story. So let me know if you're following me on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, go and search Kobi Simmat on Instagram. Lots of great content. We'll drop that on my story and put that up on my page. Okay. If you don't see me here on YouTube, if you don't see me on LinkedIn, if you don't see me on Instagram, if you don't see me on any other handles, Facebook, etc., I've got something special for you guys. One of my goals is to help business owners have freedom. So starting this Sunday, so in about 3 or 4 days' time, it's Sunday. It'll be today, right now, what is it, Wednesday in Sydney, Australia. I know it's Tuesday for you, David, up in Ecuador. For you guys that are a day behind us, starting Saturday, I'm taking 6 weeks and I'm doing a road trip. And we're going to be covering the behind the scenes on that road trip. The best place to follow me is on Instagram as I go ahead and do that. There's going to be lots of great content. I'm going in the middle of that road trip. I'm having a family holiday, but I'm going to be driving probably around about 8,000 kilometers over the next 6 weeks, doing a road trip, lots of car content, lots of outdoor content. We're going to be bringing you that great stuff. So the best place to see what I'm doing for the next 6 weeks, because I won't be here in the studio, is on my Instagram page. So if you don't see me on Instagram, you don't see me on YouTube, and you don't see me on LinkedIn, you'll definitely see me right here. You know how this goes on Best Practice TV. Bye for now.